what could education look like for the next generation? Is that feasible in the States or is that feasible in Taiwan?
We teach what schools don't.
I feel like Taipei is very alive. I think it's a very alive city for me. He's a genius.
Wow. No.
I'm here with the team from ACTA Academy, Caroline and Kevin. How you guys doing? New entrepreneur life. How's that going so far?
You wear all of the hats all at once, juggling every role. Right. I'm Caroline. I'm from Sacramento, California. Basically, our story starts with Kevin and I meeting at UC Berkeley 8 years ago, studying together and falling in love and all that wonderful stuff, talking a lot about what do we believe is education and what do we think you need to develop yourself and how do we grow. And we love learning and creative learning and stuff like that.
I actually grew up here in Tianmu. I went to Taipei American School, graduated there, and then went on to UC Berkeley. That's where I met Caroline. At UC Berkeley, I studied cognitive science, sociology, political economy, 3 majors, and I minored in education as well.
He's a genius.
No. You know, within my kind of discipline of cognitive science, sociology, political economy, and education, you can kind of see a pattern of my interest in how we process information, how we think, how we communicate ideas. So cognitive science is kind of like psychology. It's about how we think, but specifically how information is processed within the brain. As I was in Cog-Sci, I realized, this blends naturally into education, right? We're like talking about how we process information. Education is about that, conveying of information. Cog-Sci is the individual level, sociology is the group level, political economy is the meta level, and then education is the how do you actually impact the way we think.
And so what made you guys want to come back here?
So we actually did long distance for 2.5 years during COVID. I hopped on basically the last flight back to Taipei. Quite literally. I was on the runway out of SFO, and I get the text that Bay Area is in lockdown.
It became this question of, you've been teaching for the past few years in Taiwan, and you have some new ideas about what could education look like for the next generation. Is that feasible in the States or is that feasible in Taiwan? I really believed in what you were talking about and you know, I was very much on board with it. And so when we talked about where could we start this, US or Taiwan just felt like there was more possibility and opportunity for this kind of new education.
Why would Taiwan be better for that?
I think one of the big things is that being in Taiwan, for me, is I'm familiar with kind of the environment of students that want to go to the States or just abroad in general, like the international student environment. Coming back to Taiwan also, it's being close to my family and like having that kind of support and also just like in an environment overall where we get to like build a community like this. We're very excited to just be here to do that.
I feel like Taipei is very alive. I think it's a very alive city for me, especially coming from a more suburban area. I think just the community we've built, and I feel like we found so many other creative thinkers in Taipei, and it's been really easy to connect with people on that level of like, we have a lot of new ideas and people are open to it. I'm Ukrainian, so I really value that traditional aspect as well. So
ACTA Academy, our slogan is we teach what schools don't. We want to focus on filling in the gaps that schools often overlook because they have all these things that they have to meet. In local schools, you have your local tests to get into universities. International schools, you have SATs and IBs and APs. What we're focusing on more is, the fundamental skills, for example, reading. How do you read effectively? The other part is actually the philosophy part, which is, why am I here? What am I doing? What's my role? Why am I happy or unhappy? And what can I do about it?
I actually take the creative writing approach with my students where they're writing short stories with me and they're creating a hero and going on the hero's journey, which is like Joseph Campbell, essentially that you go from the known world into the unknown and bring something back into the known, making them aware that there is like a greater arc to their story. And also don't shy away from conflict. Conflict is actually growth. Taiwanese schools, I've noticed this like drive for perfection within a lot of students without an allowance for mistakes or failures. They're quite fearful of making a mistake, and instead, like, my goal or my role as a teacher is to actually encourage the failures and show how do you grow from that and how is that a learning experience, not a humiliating or embarrassing moment that you need to be scared of. ACTA. A is for awareness.
Okay.
And so first of all, awareness of yourself, awareness of what you're feeling. C, creativity.
Okay.
So creative problem solving, creative solutions, art, writing, everything.
Thinking outside the box as well. Beautiful. Creativity.
Okay.
And then next is T for teamwork. I don't think you can make those huge leaps without people supporting you and without a community behind you.
And that's also where communication comes in, right?
Yeah.
Teamwork could just be as simple as communicating with their parents. Hey, I feel this.
Yeah.
Right. And then maybe your parents could come up with something and say, okay, could we do something to make the situation better?
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
That already in itself could be teamwork.
Yeah.
Right. And then the last letter.
A for action. So next is just taking action. So the steps go through awareness, creativity, teamwork, and action. And how do you actually create change in your life? Learning for us is fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why he did 3 majors and a minor, and I did 2 majors and a minor. Like, we really loved learning at university.
How can you make learning fun in Taiwan?
In a lot of ways, learning has become a bit of a punishment with school sometimes. You're being punished. You have to learn.
Learning is fun.
Yeah.
Fundamentally. Like, you put a child in a room and they're going to do something fun.
Yeah.
Forget the child. Like, put myself in a room. I'm going to
Yeah.
try to do something fun for myself, right?
Yeah.
And so the desire to play is quite embedded and inherent, I think, in human beings.
Yeah.
And so the way I view the problem isn't necessarily how to make learning fun, is how do you make the unfun parts, get it out of the way. If I were to be a teacher at a local school, I would have these KPIs that I need to hit, right?
Sure,
These tests I need to do. And my performance is predicated on how well the student do on the test, which in itself kind of handicaps my level of creativity.
Gotcha.
Guess I'll just add on a little bit. So
Please do.
I teach more younger students. So
Okay.
my age group is more like 7 to 12,
Gotcha.
6 to 12. They can feel when you're present
Yeah.
and when you're not. We don't want to just be another cram school.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
We
understand.
don't want
Yeah,
it to
yeah.
be closed classrooms where students are just kind of locked in a jail cell. I understand the necessity for them. I get what's coming from, but it was just like, that's not what our energy is. It's not what we want to be. And so we wanted to have that open space.
How are you different from a cram school, like a local cram school? Okay.
We focus on like foundational understanding and kind of elevating students' understanding of English and understanding their elevating of text or their writing, while at the same time having them be more self-reflective. It's not about being mainstream. It's about finding like our small little corner of the world where, you know, I think on a small scale you can really do a big change just with every student that comes through. My one of my like a big success story for me is one of my students. She came to me and she wanted to write more, and at the end of like about a 4-month process of writing a short story and editing it and all these things, her mom came back to me with a published version of it. I have her little
You have a
booklet of
physical copy of
a
this.
short story
Wow.
now. With
I have an example as well with a student that is a photography.
Yes.
He wants to be a photography major
Yes.
in college, and he already has a lot of photos, and he's had one exhibition under his belt. And because we had the space, I'm like, hey, why don't we put another exhibition on for you with your newest work and stuff like that? A lot of it was, how are you going to price your products, right? How are you going to price your art? And that's one of the weird things as an artist or as a
for sure.
creator.
It's
Like,
tough. Yeah.
how do you decide how much the thing you love or you make is worth?
Yeah.
But then there's the real aspect of things, which is how much did it cost you to print this photo and
Yeah, of
frame
course.
it and get it shipped here?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then that's not even including your physical labor.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so let's price that in, and is it reasonable? Do you feel good about it?
Yeah.
Right. That's a skill that he can learn and take with him to the rest of his life. Those are the kind of skills that he can take with him anywhere in life. That to me is the kind of teaching that we want to do out the outside of classroom
Outside of the
teaching.
box.
I think I just
Awesome.
want to just let people know that there's like a space like this where we're doing something a little bit different. It's based around creative learning, and it fills our cup, honestly, to work with people and to connect. That's why we do it.